In today's video, I want to chat to you guys quickly about opening up a business bank account in South Africa. My name is Heinrich from SA Accounting Network, and I'm busy recording a business mentoring program. We're busy with the second phase, and remember the previous first phase, we were just all about planning the business itself. Now we're in the startup phase. Previous video, we talked about registering a company. In this video, I just want to stand still quickly and opening up a bank account for your business, as that is the next step of the things that need to happen. Yes, so before I head down to my computer, remember to give the video a like, remember to hit subscribe, and let me quickly show you guys what this video is about opening up bank accounts in South Africa. Yeah, so the talk, step-by-step guide, opening up bank accounts. So, yeah, remember we are busy with this analogy of building a house. So the planning phase, we're still all about planning what your house is going to look like. Previous video, we talked about registering the company, so you can compare that to the foundation of the business itself, to throw the foundation, because you've got a strong foundation, you can have a strong house. And then the bank account can basically be seen as the walls of your house, because the walls is something that keeps everything in one place, and your business bank account serves the same purpose in your business. It keeps all your business expenses and your business activities in one place. And I think that is really, really key when it comes to running a business. Yeah, so it keeps everything in one place. What's really important, I can't emphasize this enough. And I think most accountants, if you speak to them, this is one of the biggest mistakes a lot of business people make, is that they must never use the personal bank account as the business bank account. So if you can't go register a company and then just start putting money through your personal account and just think you can run the business through your personal bank account, never do that. So the business must have its own business bank account, and then because it's got to be separate from you. Remember, the company is a separate legal entity, so the day when it's registered, it basically gets its own ID number, it gets its own tax identity, it must do its own tax returns. Everything is separate from you, and the advantage of that is one day when you sell your business, you can take that thing as a shell separate from you. You can sell that onto the new owner one day. So that is obviously the ultimate purpose, or the ultimate goal of while we're doing the things, while we're splitting up the personal and the business expenses. Yeah. So just as important it is not to use your personal account for business expenses, the other way around is just as important not to use your business account as a personal account. So you need to separate those two things. So it's really, really important. Yes. So the legal requirement, so that is important as well for any business. If it starts trading, it must have its own business bank account. So they have a term in terms of the commercial law where they talk about piercing the corporate veil, and it's all about protecting the liability of the shareholders and the directors of the company. If you don't separate your business and your personal expenses, then the courts can come. They talked about this in piercing the corporate veil. So then they put the company aside. Then you as the owner, the director of the company, the shareholder, they're going to come after your own personal assets and liabilities, or your own assets. So that's why it's really, really important to have the business its own bank account. Yeah, so let's quickly look. So it doesn't matter where you open up your business bank account. It doesn't matter which bank you use. The first three things is the same for everybody. You must have your company registration documents. That's really, really important. And I think the registration documents, once you receive your email from the receiver from SIPC when you register your company, that document, plus quite often some banks want you to log into SIPC, and there's another document which they call the MOI, the Memorandum of Incorporation. You need to download that document as well. So there's two documents. Then you need to take that to the bank. Not all banks ask for the second one, but I have seen where the banks ask for the second one. Proof of address. So that is also a challenge now, because the day when you register the company doesn't have an address. It's your personal address that you put on those registration documents, unless if you're renting a factory or something like that. But the majority, 99% of the business, run their businesses from their home, because that is how you start. So then you would take your personal confirmation of address, proof of address, so either water and lights account, or if you're renting somewhere, you would have to take your lease agreement probably with one or two rental invoices. I would rather take too much to the bank than too little. Otherwise, they're going to chase up and down, up and down, up and down. You're just going to get frustrated through the process. So rather take too much than too little when you go to the bank to open up your bank account. And obviously, original IDs you need to take with as well. They're going to make photocopies. So that's important. The day when you register your company, I've seen it maybe once or twice. The day when you register your company, the receiver of revenue emails you an income tax certificate to say that your company is registered. Here's the company tax number. So take that certificate with. In my experience, I've never seen that the banks actually ask for it, but it's good to have that as well. Company resolution. So what that is about is if you're a sole owner, if you're the only owner of a company, you just go with the registration documents, proof of address, original ID, they open up their bank account. But as soon as you're more than one owner, you need to have a resolution, or they call it a resolution. That's just a summary to say that they're giving you the permission to open up the bank account on behalf of all the shareholders of the company. And all the shareholders of the company, all the directors need to sign that to say that they're giving you permission to open up the business bank account. Because if you have more than one owner, everybody's got to be in agreement to say that we're going to bank with FNB and we're giving Heinrich the authority to open up the business bank account on our behalf. So if you're more than one shareholder inside a company, and that's a good thing to do. If you, let's say, for instance, you're only two owners in the business, we've done it before as well. Both owners jump in the car, go to the bank, sit there quickly with your IDs, registration documents, say, yeah, both of us are here. We're the only shareholders, only directors of the company, and please register. I'll open up the business bank account first. Beneficial ownership register. I personally haven't seen the banks ask for it, but it's also something important that you need to perhaps take with. Just take it within the file. Remember, we were talking about in the previous video, we were talking about registering company. The immediate thing after you register company, I think they said within 21 days, you need to file your beneficial ownership declarations to SIBC. So those documents you need to take with as well, just for in case they ask it. Like I said, just going to make the process a bit easier. Yeah, so considerations when you're opening up a business bank account. A lot of people's got personal preferences. I personally used to bank with a bank since 1993. Probably about 3 years ago, I tried to open up a business bank account online with that specific bank. It went south, and I just said, guys, I'm out of here. You can't treat me the way that you do and expect me to be loyal to you, after I've been with you guys for 30 odd years. And I moved to a different bank. I walked into that bank with my registration documents, my ID proof of address. I walked out with my business bank account open with my card, all that stuff at the same time. The other bank, I tried to open it online, and I think like 2 months later, I still didn't have access to the business bank account. I didn't have a bank. I had the number, but that was all it was. It was not linked. I couldn't use it. I had no card. So it was just a waste of time. Yeah, so personal preferences and personal experiences. So obviously we can't dictate which bank you're going to use. You need to do your research. You know which bank you use at the moment, and obviously that will probably be your first choice. I think considerations, monthly cost. So that's obviously really important as well, because not all banks charge the same. Certain banks are more expensive than other banks. Other banks are again cheaper than other banks. I remember a long time ago, I had a client probably in about 2010. And so this guy used to draw money, something like between R500,000 and R1,000,000 a day that they used to draw. And so he actually went to one of the most expensive banks at that time. And I told him, dude, why are you going to this bank? They're so expensive. He says, you won't believe it. But all the banks, when you withdraw money, they ask a certain percentage. Let's say, for instance, like 3% or 1% of the amount that they put out. They charge a bank charge for withdrawals, where that bank kept their withdrawal fee to a maximum of 2,000 Rand. So this guy could draw R1,000,000 at a time, and the bank would only charge him 2,000 Rand for that withdrawal. So that was interesting. So don't always think the cheapest bank is the cheapest. You need to look at your business, what your needs are, and how that bank can fulfill your needs. Because quite often those type of things, a more expensive bank might be worth looking into as well. Another important thing is the way that the bank's portals work is integrations and with apps. I think if you look at different banking apps, if you had to compare Standard Bank with FNB, the app works differently. The way that it interacts with you works differently. And sometimes, I think there's definitely stuff that you need to consider. Reward programs, that I think is also probably not a game changer, but there's big benefit in that. And I think there's a big draw card. If you think about rewards programs, I think most banks have it these days. And I think what's also important is financing options. So when you go open up a bank account and within the next year or 2 years, you're going to be looking for finance, maybe speak to your banking and say, listen, if I want to borrow R1,000,000, what is the procedure? What is it that they look at? Would they consider my business for future funding, for future financing? Because there's no use opening up a bank account and going a year down the line with those guys, and after they come back and say, no, sorry, we don't finance people in that industry. I've heard of some banks where they're very specific about what type of business they would actually finance. So that is also something to consider. That's maybe worth asking a question to your business bank is, my type of business, would the bank consider giving me finance if the time comes? Yes, I think just a list of banks. We obviously have FNB, we've got Standard Bank, we've got ABSA, we've got Nedbank, we've got Investec, Capitec, and then there's a couple of other banks like Time Bank and Bank Zero. So there's a lot of stuff out there. You can go do research on all these business bank accounts, see what their requirements are. And then choose the one that works the best for your business. Okay. Ways to open up a bank account. The one is a walk-in. We did talk about it briefly, and the other one is about opening up a bank account online. Both options is only activated once money is deposited into the bank account. So you can go to the bank, do all the documents and stuff, but there's got to be a minimum deposit of 100 Rand or 500 Rand before they would actually activate that business bank account. And so walk-ins. So this is also quite interesting. So some banks, you can walk straight into the door with your ID registration documents, proof of address and card. So when I open up a business bank account, an hour later you walk out there with a card, an activated bank account linked to your banking profile. Everything is up and running. Other banks, you can't just walk into a branch. If you walk in there and they say, I want to open up a business bank account, they say, no, sorry, you can't do it at this branch. Or you need to go see a business banker. And if you want to see the guy, they said, no, you can only get an appointment with him in 2 weeks' time. So that's, I don't know how banks work like that. I mean, that's, so that's just it's something that you must just look at. When you're doing your research about banks, see whether that option exists. If you just go to your bank and say, listen, I want to open up a business bank account, can I walk in and do it? Yes or no? So that is also something that you can look at. So I said over here, some banks, only business bankers can open a bank account. So take all the documents that are listed in the video. Don't leave anything. Make sure you don't want to go up and down, up and down, up and down the whole time, because time is money. You don't want to do that. And I think why I prefer working face-to-face is that if there's an issue, something is missing, something is not right, they can sort it out right there and then. They will tell you, listen, this proof of address is too old, or the date on this is not right, or maybe whatever the case might be. So the consultant will tell you right there what the problem is. And I think that is probably with my experience that I shared just now quickly about the business bank account, about opening it online. I saw my bank had the option to do it online, so I said, okay, let me do it online. I'll try the option over there. And I think once you submit those documents, you've got no control. You phone a call center, they say, sorry, they're still looking for your application. And eventually you speak to somebody, they say, no, I think there was something wrong with my ID certification or something like that. So I said, okay, let me go to a branch. I walked into a branch, and the guy at the branch says, sorry, because the business bank account was opened online, it's not the same branch code. They can't help me there, which is ridiculous. So eventually, after fighting with the people, I did send my stuff through eventually, but they just could not get the thing to work. So my personal experience about opening online business bank account is not great. If you get it right, well done to you. But my experience was unfortunately a very bad experience. And I think, like I said, I actually left that bank because of that. I was a loyal client for more than 30 years. They treated me like crap, so I just decided to move on. Action steps. So what that you can do? You obviously need to do some research, go investigate the different banks, looking at their pricing structures, what they offer, how efficient they are. Obviously, you can go look at reviews and stuff like that as well. It's really cool to speak to business owners as well out there to see what their experiences are, which banks they recommend. I think that's also a really good option. And then you need to open up your business bank account. In the description of the video as well, there's a link to a little worksheet that I've compiled as well that you can probably print out, tick the boxes, and just use it as a checklist to make sure that you tick all the boxes when you open up your business bank account. Yes. Once again, remember to give the video a like, remember to subscribe, and I'll see you guys for the next video.